The first black SUV rolled past slowly enough for Marcus, veiled to notice his own reflection across its polished windows, not because he cared about the vehicle, because at that exact moment, his wife was laughing at him. Not smiling, not grinning, laughing. The kind of laugh people use when they want everyone around them to know they no longer respect you. The kind designed to humiliate, designed to reduce someone, designed to make a person feel small. Marcus stood motionless near the edge of the massive driveway outside. Hawthorne Heights, the private luxury district sitting on the north side of Chicago, where old money and new money constantly fought quiet wars behind glass walls and seven-figure gates. He had driven 40 minutes after receiving her text. One sentence. Just one. Come get the rest of your things. 3 years of marriage. Reduced to 7 words. Now he stood there wearing black jeans, a fitted black shirt and an old silver watch his grandfather had given him years ago. Nothing expensive. Nothing flashy. Nothing that screamed money. Across from him stood Serena, his wife. Or technically, for another 3 weeks, still his wife. And standing beside Serena was the man, the replacement. Tall, perfect haircut, brown designer suit, luxury watch, dark glasses. The type of man who practiced smiling in mirrors, one arm wrapped around Serena's waist. The two of them looked like one of those social media couples people secretly hate. Too perfect. Too polished. Too intentional. Marcus stared quietly. Serena tilted her head, then smiled. Not warmly. Not sadly. Cruelly. Oh my God. She looked toward the suited man, then back toward Marcus. Adrian, look at him. Marcus said nothing. Serena laughed again. He actually came. Adrian smirked. Marcus finally spoke. You said you wanted to give me my things. Serena folded her arms. Relax. She stepped closer. Slowly, like someone approaching a harmless animal. Marcus noticed something immediately. That smile. 3 years together teaches you things. Small things. Important things. Serena wore that smile whenever she believed she had already won. Whenever she thought she had complete control. She looked him directly in the eyes. Marcus. Pause. Long pause. Then. I finally upgraded. Silence. Wind moved across the driveway. Marcus blinked once. Nothing else. No reaction. No anger. No shouting. No emotion. Just silence. Serena expected something. A breakdown. A scene. Jealousy. Pain. Anything. Instead, Marcus simply stared, which somehow irritated her even more. Adrian laughed. Come on, man. He adjusted his watch. You gotta admit, he pulled Serena closer. She did pretty good. Some people nearby glanced over. 2 women walking dogs slowed down. A valet standing beside the neighboring mansion looked over. A delivery driver paused. Marcus suddenly realized something. This wasn't private. This was planned. Carefully planned. Serena wanted witnesses. She wanted an audience. She wanted validation. Marcus looked around, then back towards Serena. You invited me here for this? She shrugged. I invited you so you could see reality. Marcus stared. No response. Serena sighed dramatically. You know what your problem always was? No answer. You think being nice matters? She shook her head. No. She pointed toward Adrian. This matters. Her hand moved toward the mansion, toward the cars, toward the lifestyle, toward appearances. Power matters. Marcus looked toward Adrian, then toward the mansion, then quietly asked, You moved in already? Serena smiled. Oh! Her eyes sparkled. You haven't heard? Marcus said nothing. Adrian grinned. Serena spread both arms. We live here now. Marcus looked toward the massive property. Glass walls, private balconies, luxury architecture. 3 stories. The type of house people post online with captions about manifestation. Marcus stared a little longer. Something strange crossed his face. Not jealousy. Not sadness. Confusion. Tiny confusion. Only for a second. Then it disappeared. Serena noticed. Oh, don't tell me you're jealous. Marcus looked back at her. No. Then what? Nothing. No answer. Because truthfully, something felt strange. Not the mansion. Not Adrian. Not Serena. Something else. Something Marcus couldn't explain. Something familiar. Very familiar. But before he could think further, another black SUV rolled slowly past the property. Then another. Marcus looked. 3 identical vehicles. Same dark windows. Same polished finish. Same route. Slow. Very slow. Serena noticed too. Rich people around here, she said. Get used to it. Marcus kept watching. Something felt off. Because the SUVs weren't driving normally. They slowed. Near him. Not near Serena. Not near Adrian. Near him. Then continued. Marcus frowned slightly. Adrian laughed. What? Marcus looked away. Nothing. But it wasn't nothing. Because over the next 30 seconds, a 4th SUV appeared. Then a 5th. Then a 6th. Slow. Controlled. Quiet. Like a convoy. Marcus watched them disappear around the corner. Serena rolled her eyes. You always do that. Marcus looked back. Do what? Disappear into your head. Adrian smirked. That's because broke guys live in imagination. Marcus looked at him. Still calm. Still quiet. Still no reaction. Adrian suddenly became annoyed. Because men like Adrian understood anger. They understood insecurity. They understood competition. But calm made people uncomfortable. Marcus placed both hands inside his pockets. Then asked, You done? Serena blinked. What? You called me. Pause. Marcus looked toward the house. Can I get my things? Silence. Serena looked annoyed. Deeply annoyed. Because reality wasn't matching the movie scene inside her head. Marcus wasn't fighting. Wasn't crying. Wasn't begging. Nothing. Adrian leaned toward Serena. Whispered something. She smiled. Then looked back. Oh right. She pulled out keys. Tossed them. They landed near Marcus's feet. Clack. Your apartment keys. Marcus looked down. Then back up. Apartment? For a second he looked confused. Then Serena smiled wider. Crueler. Oh. She enjoyed this part. I forgot. Marcus slowly looked up. Serena crossed her arms. You don't live there anymore. Silence. What? Adrian smiled. Serena tilted her head. I removed your name. Marcus stared. You what? The lease. Smile. I had lawyers handle it. Silence. For the first time, actual emotion crossed Marcus's face. Not anger. Not pain. Confusion. Pure confusion. Because something about that sentence made no sense. Legally, that wasn't possible. Marcus knew because years ago his grandfather had forced him to learn contracts, property basics, ownership law, not because Marcus cared. His grandfather simply believed men should understand assets. But Serena kept talking. I figured a successful man shouldn't need help. Adrian laughed loudly. Marcus stared. Something wasn't adding up. Not emotionally. Legally. Because technically, Marcus had purchased that property. Years ago. Through a holding company. He remembered signing documents. Very briefly. Back then he barely paid attention. His grandfather handled everything. Marcus frowned. Wait. No. That wasn't right. He looked toward Serena. Then toward the mansion. Then back. A strange feeling settled in his chest. Tiny. Uncomfortable. Like remembering a dream you forgot. Suddenly, one of the black SUVs stopped. Completely. Across the street, nobody spoke. The engine remained running. Serena looked. Adrian looked. Marcus looked. Silence. 5 seconds. 10 seconds. Then the driver's side door slowly opened. And the moment Marcus saw who stepped out, the color disappeared from his face. Because he recognized the old man immediately. And the old man recognized him too. Then something happened Marcus had not seen in over 10 years. The old man's eyes widened. Completely widened, like he had seen a ghost. Then under his breath, barely audible, the old man whispered, No way! And suddenly, Marcus understood why something about today felt wrong. The old man looked like someone whose heartbeat had stopped. Not physically, mentally. Like reality had suddenly taken a wrong turn. He stood beside the black SUV wearing a dark navy suit with silver, hair brushed perfectly, backward, mid-60s, calm face, expensive watch. The type of man who looked invisible until people realized everyone around him quietly obeyed him. Marcus stared. Then his eyes widened slightly. Not from fear. Recognition. Because Marcus knew him. Not well, but enough. Enough to remember. Enough to feel the strange heaviness suddenly growing inside his chest. Serena looked between them. Adrian adjusted his sunglasses. The old man took 2 slow steps forward. Stopped. Stared. Then said, "Marcus?" Silence. Marcus blinked. "Mr. Whitmore." Serena frowned. Adrian looked confused. Marcus had not seen Harrison Whitmore in over 10 years. Not since his grandfather's funeral. And even back then, Marcus barely understood who Harrison actually was. He simply remembered one strange thing. During the funeral, everyone treated Harrison differently. Powerful men shook his hand carefully. Lawyers stood when he entered rooms. Business executives watched him nervously. Marcus remembered asking his grandfather once, "Who exactly is Harrison?" And his grandfather had smiled. Only smiled. Then said, "One day you'll understand." Marcus never asked again. Now Harrison Whitmore stared at Marcus like he had just found something missing. Or someone. Serena suddenly laughed awkwardly. "Oh my God." She pointed. "You know him?" Harrison slowly turned. His expression changed immediately. Not rude. Not friendly. Cold. Professional. "Who are you?" Silence. Serena blinked. "What?" Harrison repeated. "I asked who you are." Adrian stepped forward. "Excuse me." Marcus immediately noticed something. Harrison wasn't acting confused. He wasn't being disrespectful. He genuinely did not care. There was a difference. Adrian smiled politely, extended his hand. Adrian Cole. No handshake. Nothing. Harrison looked at the hand, then looked back at Marcus. Only Marcus. Marcus. Pause. Long pause. Then. "What are you doing here?" Marcus looked around. Then at Serena, then back. Long story. Harrison stared. No movement. No expression. No blinking. Then slowly his eyes moved toward Serena, toward Adrian, toward the mansion, back toward Marcus. Silence. Long silence. And suddenly, Marcus saw it. Very small. Very brief. Panic. Tiny panic. On Harrison's face. Gone instantly. But Marcus saw it, because his grandfather once taught him something. Pay attention to people who control rooms. They reveal truth for 1 second before hiding it. Harrison looked toward the mansion again, then quietly asked, "Who lives here?" Adrian smiled. "We do." Silence. Absolute silence. Harrison looked at him. Nothing. Then. "You," Adrian nodded. "Recently moved in." Harrison slowly looked back toward Marcus. Then back toward Adrian. Marcus felt something tightening in his stomach. Something strange was happening. He just didn't know what. Harrison suddenly reached inside his jacket, pulled out his phone, made a call. Immediately. No explanation. No warning. No permission. Adrian frowned. What exactly is happening? No answer. Harrison turned away. Quiet voice. "Yes." Pause. Long pause. "No." Another pause. Then Harrison looked over his shoulder toward Marcus, and Marcus noticed something that made his skin crawl. The old man's hand was shaking, very slightly. Marcus had never seen powerful people nervous, especially not people like Harrison. Then Harrison spoke softly. "No." Pause. "He's standing right in front of me." Silence. Then. "Yes." Long pause. Then. "I think we have a problem." Click. Call ended. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Wind moved through the driveway. Far away, a bird crossed the sky. Marcus stared. Serena crossed her arms. "Okay." She forced a laugh. "What is this?" No response. She looked at Marcus. "Who is this?" Marcus shook his head slightly. "I haven't seen him in years." Adrian smirked. "Oh, great." He laughed. "One of those fake rich mentors?" Marcus ignored him, because something felt wrong. Very wrong. Harrison looked directly at Marcus. Then quietly asked, "Did your grandfather ever explain anything?" Marcus frowned. "What?" "Anything." Silence. Marcus thought. Thought harder. Then. "No." Pause. "He barely talked about business." Harrison stared. No reaction. Then whispered, Unbelievable. Marcus frowned. What? Harrison looked toward the sky briefly, like he suddenly had a headache, then looked back. Marcus. Long pause. Do you remember signing papers years ago? Marcus froze. Completely froze. Because suddenly, a memory appeared. Small. Very old. 17 years old. Grandfather's office. Stacks of documents. Lawyers everywhere. Marcus remembered complaining. Remembered saying, "How much longer?" Remembered his grandfather smiling. 5 more signatures. Marcus slowly looked up. What papers? Harrison stared. No answer. Only silence. Then, oh God, Marcus frowned. What? But Harrison wasn't listening anymore, because suddenly another SUV arrived. Not 1, 3, then 2 more. 5 vehicles. Black. Perfect. Identical. Slowly entering the street. Adrian laughed. Wow. He looked towards Serena. Some billionaire convention? Nobody laughed. Because the SUVs stopped. Every single one. Right outside the mansion. Doors opened, one by one. Men stepped out. Dark suits. Professional. No expressions. Marcus counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 10. More. Not bodyguards. Not exactly. Lawyers. Marcus knew because his grandfather used to bring lawyers everywhere. Same briefcases. Same posture. Same expression. The expression people wear when millions of dollars are involved. Or billions. Adrian stopped smiling. Serena frowned. What is this? Nobody answered. Because every single person stepping out looked directly toward Marcus. Not Adrian. Not Serena. Marcus. Then something even stranger happened. One of the lawyers, a woman around 50 with glasses, suddenly stopped walking. Completely stopped. Stared at Marcus's ... and whispered, "No." Another man beside her looked up. Then froze too. Then another. And another. Marcus suddenly felt cold, because one by one, their expressions changed. Confusion. Shock. Disbelief. Like people seeing someone who should not exist. Marcus looked at Harrison. What the hell is happening? Silence. Then Harrison slowly turned toward him. For the first time since arriving, the old man's calm disappeared. Completely. Marcus. Pause. Tell me something. Silence. Marcus stared. Harrison looked directly into his eyes. When was the last time you checked what you actually own? Silence. Absolute silence. Marcus blinked. What? Harrison stared. No movement. No smile. Nothing. Then quietly said, "No." Pause. You really don't know. And for the first time that day, Marcus felt real fear. Because suddenly, he realized everyone around him looked nervous. Except him. And people with power only panic for one reason. When something much bigger just walked into the room. Marcus felt the world become strangely quiet. Not physically. Mentally. Like every sound around him had suddenly moved farther away. The wind. The passing cars. The distant city noise. Everything. Gone. Because Harrison's question kept repeating inside his head. When was the last time you checked what you actually own? Actually own. Actually own. Marcus stared at him. Then laughed once. Small laugh. Confused laugh. The kind people make when reality suddenly sounds ridiculous. What are you talking about? Nobody answered. Not immediately. Because every lawyer standing near those SUVs kept staring at Marcus like they had discovered a missing person after 20 years. Serena looked irritated. Then uncomfortable. Then irritated again. Because attention had shifted. Not toward her. Toward Marcus. Toward the man she had spent the last 30 minutes trying to embarrass. Adrian stepped forward. Okay, enough. His smile disappeared. What exactly is this? Silence. No one looked at him. Not one person. Not Harrison. Not the lawyers. Not Marcus. Nobody. And somehow, that hurt Adrian more, because people who build themselves around status become deeply uncomfortable when they stop existing. Inside a room, Adrian cleared his throat. Louder, I said. Sir. A woman interrupted him. Calmly, without emotion. The lawyer with glasses. She looked at Adrian. Nothing hostile. Nothing angry, but somehow far worse. Professional. Cold. Please. Wait. Adrian blinked. Excuse me. She ignored him. Completely. Then looked toward Marcus. Mr. Vale. Silence. Marcus frowned immediately. Mr. Vale. Almost nobody called him that, especially strangers. The woman adjusted her glasses, then opened a leather folder. Marcus suddenly felt something strange inside his stomach, because the folder looked familiar. Extremely familiar. Black leather comma. Silver corners. His grandfather used those. Always. Every meeting. Every discussion. Every document. Marcus stared harder. No. Impossible. The woman spoke carefully. Can you confirm your date of birth? Marcus blinked. What? Silence. Your date of birth. Marcus looked at Harrison, then back. August 18th. The woman looked down. Read something. Then slowly nodded. Silence. Then another man opened another folder. Then another. Marcus looked around. More papers. More folders. More documents. Then Harrison closed his eyes. Briefly, like someone preparing for a headache. Oh God. Marcus frowned. What? No answer. Serena crossed her arms. What is wrong with everybody? Still no answer. Adrian suddenly laughed. A forced laugh. Too loud. Oh my God. He looked around, then pointed toward Marcus. You're telling me this guy suddenly owns something? No response. Adrian smiled wider. Oh, this is amazing. He looked toward Serena. Your ex-hired actors. Silence. Marcus looked at Harrison, then quietly asked, what is happening? Harrison looked directly at him. Long silence. Then, how much did your grandfather tell you? Marcus thought hard, then answered honestly, very little. Pause. He taught me values. Another pause. Discipline. Another. How to stay calm. Silence. Marcus looked downward briefly. Then, he hated showing off. Harrison stared, then slowly looked away, because suddenly, he understood. Marcus saw it happen, saw realization appear across Harrison's face. Then came disbelief, then frustration, then something almost resembling panic. Oh no! Marcus frowned. What? Harrison looked directly into his eyes. Marcus. Long pause. Very long pause. Your grandfather didn't leave you money. Silence. Marcus blinked. No reaction. Then. What? Harrison swallowed slowly. He left you control. Absolute silence. No movement. No wind. Nothing. Marcus stared. Control. What control? Then Harrison pointed toward downtown Chicago in the distance. Tall buildings barely visible. Glass towers. Steel structures. Luxury districts. Commercial property. The city itself. Then Harrison quietly said, he spent 40 years building ownership through private structures. Marcus stared. No understanding. Harrison continued, layer after layer. Private trusts. Holding corporations. Silent partnerships. Real estate entities. Marcus said nothing, because suddenly, old memories appeared. His grandfather disappearing for meetings. Random signatures. Lawyers visiting. Stacks of papers. Tiny pieces. Forgotten pieces. Pieces Marcus never cared enough to understand. Harrison looked directly at him. You inherited them. Silence. Marcus blinked. No. No, no, no. That didn't make sense. At all. Wait. Marcus shook his head. No. Harrison looked exhausted. Marcus. No. Marcus stepped back. No. Because suddenly memories kept coming. Too many. Too fast. His grandfather smiling, saying strange things. Never chase appearances. Power should remain quiet. The loudest man in the room usually owns the least. Marcus suddenly looked up. Toward the mansion. Toward Serena. Toward Adrian. Toward everything. Then looked back. No. Long silence. Then Marcus asked, how much? Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Nobody spoke. Until finally, the lawyer lowered her eyes, then answered softly, we're still calculating. Silence. Marcus stared. Calculating? Calculating what? Then another voice spoke, quietly, from behind. Sir! Everyone turned. Another lawyer. Older. Nervous. Holding papers. Actual nervousness. He looked toward Harrison, then toward Marcus, then swallowed. Hard. There's another problem. Silence. What problem? The man looked toward the mansion, then toward Adrian, then Serena. Long pause. Very long pause. Then the property title. Silence. Marcus frowned. Harrison slowly closed his eyes, because somehow, before the words even came, he already knew, and suddenly, Serena's smile disappeared for the first time that day. Serena's smile vanished so slowly Marcus almost didn't notice it. Almost, because for the first time that entire afternoon, her face looked completely empty. No arrogance, no confidence, no superiority, nothing. Just confusion, pure confusion. The property title. Silence. Absolute silence. Wind moved across the driveway. Far away, a car horn echoed through the street. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The older lawyer adjusted his tie. Marcus immediately noticed something strange. His hands were shaking, very slightly, very small, but enough. Enough to tell the truth, because people who spend years around money eventually learn emotional discipline, especially lawyers, especially corporate lawyers, especially lawyers handling billion-dollar assets. So when those people become nervous, something serious is happening. Very serious. Harrison stared. What about it? Long pause. The lawyer looked toward the mansion behind Serena. The same mansion, the same glass walls, the same giant balconies, the same property Serena proudly used to humiliate Marcus, the same house she pointed toward while saying, "I upgraded." The lawyer swallowed, then looked back. The ownership structure was reviewed 6 months ago. Marcus frowned. Ownership structure? Reviewed. Harrison already looked exhausted, like a man slowly realizing a disaster was unfolding exactly the way he feared. The lawyer continued. Asset positions were reorganized. Pause. Legacy entities transferred into new structures. Silence. Marcus looked around. No understanding. None. The lawyer continued. Everything was consolidated. Silence. Under Vale Legacy Holdings. Marcus froze. Completely. Vale. Marcus Vale. No. No, no, no. Harrison closed his eyes. Oh God. Tiny whisper. Serena looked confused. What does that mean? Nobody answered. Comma. Adrian suddenly stepped forward. What does that mean? Still nothing. Nobody looked at him. Nobody acknowledged him. Not Harrison. Not the lawyers. Not Marcus. No one. Marcus noticed immediately. And suddenly he understood something. People like Adrian built identities around attention, status, recognition. Comma. Importance. And now, inside his own driveway, he had become invisible. Adrian forced a laugh. Too loud. Way too loud. Okay, seriously. No response. What does that mean? Silence. Then finally, the older lawyer looked toward him. No emotion. No expression. Nothing. Then, technically, pause. Very long pause. Then, this property belongs to Marcus Vale. Silence. Nothing. No birds. No wind. No movement. Nothing. Marcus blinked. Twice. 3 times. No reaction, because his brain completely refused to process the sentence. Belongs? What? Serena stared, frozen. Then. What? Tiny voice. Marcus slowly looked toward the mansion, then toward Harrison, then toward the lawyer. No. Impossible. The lawyer opened documents, adjusted his glasses, then continued carefully. Indirect ownership through multiple holding entities. Silence. 7 private structures. Pause. Final controlling ownership. Long pause. Marcus Vale. Silence. Absolute silence. Marcus stared at the mansion, then stared harder, because suddenly, tiny memories started returning. Very old memories. Small memories. Forgotten memories. Grandfather sitting beside fireplaces. Lawyers at dinner tables. Stacks of documents. Random meetings. Signatures. Strange conversations. Things Marcus never paid attention to. Things he never cared enough to remember. Then suddenly, one memory returned clearly. Perfectly. Marcus was 19, sitting beside his grandfather. Huge office. Rain outside. Marcus remembered asking, "Why don't rich people enjoy showing people what they own?" Grandfather smiled, then laughed. Small laugh. Then, because the richest people usually aren't trying to convince anyone. Marcus remembered, rolling his eyes. That sounds fake. Grandfather smiled again. Then, real wealth whispers. Marcus suddenly felt cold. Very cold. Because suddenly, for the first time in years, that sentence made sense. Across the driveway, Serena slowly turned. Toward Adrian, then toward Marcus, then toward the mansion, then back again. No words, no smile, nothing. Reality itself had begun changing around her, piece by piece, second by second. Adrian laughed suddenly, too loudly. No. Silence. No. Another laugh. Forced. Nervous. No chance. Nobody answered. This is insane. Nothing. Then Adrian looked directly at Marcus. Actually looked. Probably for the first time that day. Not at his clothes. Not at his appearance. At him. Really looked. Then. You knew? Marcus looked back. Long silence. Then. No. Truth. Complete truth. Marcus genuinely looked more confused than everyone standing there. And somehow, that felt terrifying. Because if Marcus secretly planned revenge, people understand revenge. If Marcus secretly hid wealth, people understand hidden wealth. But accidental power? Power someone doesn't even understand. That creates fear. Real fear. Then suddenly, another voice spoke. Mr. Vale. Marcus turned. The woman with glasses stepped forward, holding something. A black folder. Marcus froze. Immediately. Because he recognized it. Same leather. Same silver corners. Same scratches. Same wear marks. No. Impossible. Grandfather's folder. Actual folder. Marcus stared. Slowly reached forward. Took it. Silence. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Marcus opened it carefully. Documents. Charts. Property structures. Signatures. Records. Pages. Dozens. Hundreds. Then, one folded piece of paper. Handwritten. Marcus stopped breathing, because he recognized the handwriting instantly. Grandfather. Silence. Absolute silence. Marcus unfolded it, hands suddenly trembling. Then read. Marcus. His heartbeat stopped. If you're reading this, pause. Marcus swallowed. Hard. Continued. Then Harrison finally found you. Marcus stared. No movement. Continued. You've probably ignored half the meetings again. Tiny smile. Very tiny. Because that sounded exactly like him. Exactly. You always hated meetings. Marcus almost laughed. Almost. Then continued reading. Money changes people. Pause. Power changes people. Pause. But hidden power reveals people. Silence. Marcus stared. Because suddenly, he wasn't standing in a driveway anymore. He was 16 again. Sitting beside fireplaces. Listening during long conversations. Pretending not to care. Pretending not to listen. Meanwhile, his grandfather quietly taught lessons Marcus never understood. Until now, Marcus kept reading. I spent decades watching people destroy themselves chasing appearances. Louder cars. Larger houses. More attention. More validation. More status. Pause. Most people confuse being seen with being valuable. Marcus swallowed, because Serena suddenly flashed inside his mind. The mansion. The cars. The humiliation. The upgrade comment. Everything. The letter continued. So I built everything quietly. Ownership hidden beneath ownership. Structures beneath structures. Silence beneath attention. Marcus stared. Then, because silence protects truth, Marcus suddenly felt pressure inside his chest. Because now, everything started connecting. Random documents. Random meetings. Random signatures. Random lawyers. None of it random. Not one thing. Then Marcus continued. And I left everything to you. Pause. Long pause. Marcus stared. Then, because you never cared enough to chase it. Silence. Marcus froze. No movement. Nothing. Then, you cared about people. That matters. Marcus looked downward. Because suddenly, his vision blurred. Not confusion. Emotion. Real emotion. Then final paragraph. One last lesson. Marcus inhaled slowly. Never chase people who choose status over loyalty. Let them walk. People eventually reveal the price of their choices. Marcus stared. Long silence. Then slowly lowered the letter. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Across the driveway, Serena stared at him. Eyes wide. No arrogance anymore. No superiority. No smile. Just fear. Real fear. Because suddenly, she wasn't seeing Marcus. She was seeing consequences. Every insult. Every laugh. Every humiliation. Every choice. All arriving at once. Then slowly, very slowly, she stepped toward him. One step. Then another. Marcus. Tiny voice. Nothing like before. Marcus looked at her. No anger. No revenge. No satisfaction. Just calm. Because suddenly Marcus understood something. Grandfather knew. He knew this day would happen. New status reveals people. New appearances create illusions. New loyalty gets tested when power enters rooms. Serena moved closer, eyes filling. Marcus, please. Marcus looked at her. Silence. Long silence. Then quietly asked, for what? Silence. She froze. Because suddenly, there was no answer. None. Forgiveness for what? Leaving? Mocking him? Humiliating him? Judging him? Choosing image over loyalty? Too much. Far too much. Marcus looked past Serena. Toward downtown Chicago. Toward glass towers. Buildings. Lights. Half the city. Then one final memory returned. Grandfather